What's up, guys? David Feldman-Makrias here. Hopefully, you are having a spectacular day, and I'm going to mute my phone here. So, today, what we're going to talk about is I was recently contacted with a list of questions regarding Google Ads, specifically for car dealers, and it was in response to my video, Google Ads for Car Dealers Explained in 5 minutes or less. Or no, 7 minutes or less, one of the two. So, check that out up here if you haven't watched that already and you're interested. So we're going to hone in on automotive dealers specifically. And what we're going to do is go through this list of questions that actually one of my writers proposed to me when we're making our full resource document for Google Ads for car dealers. And it's going to go through some things like how do we set up VLAs to the best way that they show up the way we want? What does an account look like that's running good for Google Ads for car dealers, so on and so forth. So let's get into the list of questions and we'll go right away. So first, when does it make sense to use VLA versus regular search ads? What factors should dealers consider? So the answer to this question is yes. Yes, because even though it doesn't really make sense to answer this question with a yes, you should be using both. If you have cars to sell, which all automotive dealers that I know have at least one or two or three, if you have any cars to sell, you should use both if you're using Google Ads. It's one of the lowest hanging fruits as far as intent. If someone's going to look for something on Google and they're all the way down the funnel, they've already gone through the purchasing path, they're ready to buy, you should be showing up in that placement. So as an example, here is an example I just put in. Ford Explorer for sale near, well, I meant to put the K on there. But note that in my area, for whatever reason, my laptop is not populating any vehicle listing ads. As you can see, there are none up here. Could be my rate, or could be my targeting. I'm not currently in Oak Brook. It could be how the dealer around me is serving ads. Jovic Ford at Jovic Ford Inc. starting at 42,290, and then find your next Ford Explorer. And here's a picture of a Ford Explorer. Not a terrible ad. I think it's actually okay. I like the starting at price, so I can see kind of like mentally if I'm a shopper what that is. And I see the Ford Explorer, but I don't see any Ford Explorer in this headline. So you'd want to have that in there. But again, I'm nitpicking. To answer the first question, you need to use both. You need to use a combination of vehicle listing ads and regular search ad campaigns, especially when we're talking about models. And then you're going to test by using those two types of campaigns for each model. And then you're going to evaluate via the metrics that we talked about in our previous discussion, like search impression share, search top impression share, click share for the new PMAX VLAs, and then, conversions and phone calls. But new models don't always generate a ton of those. So again, that's what you want to look at. And to answer the following question, you need to use both. You need to test accordingly because just like this example, sometimes VLAs don't always show up. So if VLAs don't show up for me, for whatever reason, you should have a classic search ad ready to go. Okay, what are some common mistakes you see dealers make with their VLA campaigns? Common mistakes. I don't really think it's a mistake that they know about because typical automotive dealers don't handle the Google Ads media by themselves. They usually outsource it to a freelancer or an agency or a company, at least in a new car franchise. Used car franchise, you may have somebody that's pretty quick doing it. But the biggest thing I hear is that my vehicle listing ads are not showing up. I can't get them to trigger. I can't get them to show. We're spending all this money on vehicle listing ads, but I can't get one to show in my area. There's a reason for that. And I'm going to show you that exactly right now. We actually had a contact. I don't know why my email's not loading. So we had a contact actually from a previous client, and they had this exact problem. And they wanted to provide us analytics, their Google Analytics, to see what we could see as far as the campaigns. And they wanted us to do a full deep dive, which I did. So what we did was, I'll read you this here. Good talking with you today. I took some of the names and dealer name out just to for you know, anonymity, blah, 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 whatever that word is. Below are highlights of our conversation. Attached are how our client top model VLAs look in their backyard. So that's one, how we get our clients to look. And then a report of your analytics month to date versus last month, specifically for Google Ads. So here's some things that I highlighted to them. Google's machine learning typically takes 2 to 3 weeks to complete 60 to 70% of its learning. Okay, so this was something that the dealer was getting from their other agencies saying, oh, you're not seeing this because the campaigns are learning and it takes months for them to learn. Technically, that answer is true, but what I'm seeing is most of the learning is done in the first couple weeks. So you can make switches and improvements and accurate statements based on that. 60%, 60 to 70% of its learning is done in the 2 to 3 weeks. So that means if you're trying to get improvement, 60 to 70% of the campaign's improvement is going to happen within the first couple weeks. So you know whether or not you're doing the right thing. The rest of the 30 to 40% happens over an additional 3 weeks to a few months. Again, these are generalities and aren't guaranteed to happen, but are the trends we see. So that was one of the points. Two is that I guess it's not really a mistake, but it's a misconception, right? Misconception is that, oh, we have to wait all these months. We have to wait all these months for these campaigns to learn. To fully learn, yes, but you should see trends heading in the right direction within the first couple weeks. Absolutely. Absolutely. Are there cases against that? Sure. I could probably name a handful, but it could be different circumstances. It could be different competitors. It could be a lot of different items. For a generality, you should see improvements or trends or some good things happening within the first couple weeks to few weeks. Another reason, adding budget will not necessarily improve your VLA performance as your current campaign structure isn't configured effectively. Okay, so here's another thing. Oh, my VLAs aren't showing up. I need to add more money to Google. That's not necessarily true. Google's going to take all the money it can get. Google is a for-profit business. And I just made a video about how Google's raising their prices for Google Workspace, not for Google Ads, but the auctions raise themselves. Google will take your money if you're going to give it to them. Now, adding money will not necessarily improve your VLA performance if the campaigns are not structured effectively. Let me get into that right now. Oh, I just realized I have this. Jesus. I'm going to have to blur this out when I post this on YouTube. So this is going to be edits required. Fun times for David. Okay. Here is the actual analytics of this client's account. They have a lot of different campaigns in here. Okay. They actually have 21 campaigns. And what we determine from that, the first thing I look at is how many campaigns they have. And then I can pretty much understand, and I verified this in the analytics report. I'm not going to do it now, but basically what keywords they're targeting. So we have search, 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 search. That would be the search network campaigns. When it comes into dealer, that would be any dealer keywords, new car Buick, Encore GX, GMC Sierra 1500, light duty. So, I mean, they're labeled correctly, and that's a good thing. When you have good nomenclature, it usually means that it's a more organized situation, which is good. Then we get down to, let's talk about Google VLAs. So they have two campaigns. One, Google VLAs new cars. Two, Google VLAs used cars. Do they have any others? That was it for VLAs that we could find. This is your problem. First off, Google VLA's new cars, they are bundling every single new car that they have, all the different models. Let's say there's 10 different models in one campaign, and they only spent $200. Well, that's why you haven't seen your VLAs pop. And that's why you don't have a specific saturation of or like a dominance of each model. It's because it's because you don't have enough budget for each car. Imagine you have an inventory of 100 new vehicles in the Chicagoland metro. That's pretty common. 100 new vehicles. Even if you're out past that, 50 new vehicles, and you have 10 different models, you can't allocate. You first of all, don't group them all into one campaign. You need to break them out. If you want to target 3 models specifically, you need to have different campaigns for each model. Why? Because in Google Ads, budget is controlled at the campaign level. So that means you can effectively advertise each new model with its own budget. That is really the secret sauce. It's not really even secret sauce. I just don't see any other, I don't see any other agencies or in the automotive space doing this correctly. And we've seen tremendous results. We're able to dominate the actual VLA search, which I'm going to show you in a second. But that's the secret sauce. Don't bundle your VLA campaigns. It's not a smart move. We haven't seen effective use of this because you're effectively saying, okay, $200 goes to all my new cars. That's not enough budget. I can tell you right now, it's not enough budget based on of what I'm seeing in this market, so on and so forth. It might be different in different markets, but that's kind of your biggest items here. You can't bundle this. Used cars the same. Used cars a little bit different because you don't really you have all these other brands. So that's a little bit different, but new cars specifically, if you want certain metrics and certain ones to show, you need to allocate specific budget to each model that you want to push. So getting back to this, let me go back to the questions here. What are some common mistakes? So these are all common highlights and misconceptions that I'm trying to explain here. So more budget won't necessarily improve your VLA performance, but a more segmented and comprehensive strategy will improve performance, such as the one we discussed. The one we just discussed. You have to break them out and have specific budget for specific models that you push. That's it. You can see the attached example. Hyundai store, we managed to saturate their backyard searches in the VLA placement. For Google Ads, Bing Ads, here fees are as follows. I took that part out because it's not relevant for our conversation. If you're interested in our management at all, let me know. You can comment on this video, comment, subscribe, of course. Of course. Okay, so what am I talking about with this thing? So here's a VLA example. This is actually one of our dealers. I blurred it out. So when I typed in Tucson for sale within their area, see how all these cars are structured the same, 2023 Hyundai Tucson SE, 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 SE. I blurred out the name, so you just have to trust me, but this is all from our dealer, the one we're handling. And it shows up nice. We dominate the VLA spot, and we do this pretty cost effectively as well. So that way, in our backyard, we own it. And I love it. I think it's great. Why not? In our backyard specifically. Now, if we're going out to other areas and things like that, it's going to get more costly to own. But this really is not a significant amount of dollars to own this type of segment if you structure the campaigns correctly. I actually spend less on VLAs than a lot of other vendors do just because we segment the campaign correctly. So you can spend less money and get better results when you look at these strategies. Just saying. Okay, let's go to the next one. Any examples of popular dealers who have implemented VLAs effectively, and what did they do differently? Okay, this store right here, I can't name the specific store, but this is what we're doing. We just talked about that, and this is what it actually looks like. Okay, search ads. What match types do you recommend for search campaigns? Any other advanced settings? What match types do you recommend? So I would recommend to always get the bottom of the funnel first. So let's actually go back to this. I can write on here. Bottom of the funnel first. So if we have the keyword is Tucson for sale, you're gonna want to explore exact match first, Tucson for sale. Then you're gonna want to explore phrase match. which is now phrase match and broad match modifier. And if you have enough budget and threshold to test, I would also recommend exploring broad match, Tucson for sale. These are different. All of these are different. Okay. Tucson for sale. And I should probably make a separate video just about match types, but I'm not going to go too crazy into them. If you want to look up match types and what the difference is, there's plenty of other stuff on YouTube around. I can do it specifically for car dealers or anything else. If you guys want me to, just let me know. But I wish I could get this little ABC thing out of here. There we go. So Tucson for sale. This is going to bring up search phrases that are very much similar to this. Um, Phrase match is going to be a little bit different. So, like, it could be Tucson MSRP for sale or Hyundai Tucson near me. And then if you have Tucson for sale as a broad match, then that's going to bring up Hyundai Tucson or, Hyundai Tucson comparison guide or Hyundai Tucson versus this. Like, it's a lot more broad. So that's why I say when it's more broad, you have more searches, but it's less intent. So you need more budget for it. So those are the match types I would recommend exploring. You definitely saturate exact match first, then phrase match. Then if you have enough budget and you've covered everything you want to in your proposed strategy, then you can test broad match. Broad match doesn't always work. It sometimes is a waste of money. You have to look at your search terms report regardless, but especially if you're using broad match. Any other optimizations for search you recommend based on industry experience? Oh, there is one thing I want to show too. Man, I'm giving all the secrets away on this video. Hold on. So let's scroll out here. Okay, so one of the things I want to show is a setting that plagues literally everybody, and it's hidden. And I feel like it's really, really important, especially when you're advertising for local businesses. I'm in a test campaign here, and I want to show it's in the back end of Google Ads platform. So if you're an automotive dealer that doesn't handle their Google Ads platform, just make your agency or make your freelancer, whoever, look at this and show you. So go to additional settings. No, I'm sorry. You're going to go to settings, and then you're going to go to locations. You have to do this by campaign. And then where's the additional location options? Maybe this account doesn't have it because it's a test account. Okay, hold on. Okay, went into a different account. So when you go to settings, you have to be in the right campaign. Then you're going to go to what's called location options. And location options, it's hidden. You actually have to drop it down. It's not an innate setting. It's target. Presence or interest, people in, regularly in, who have shown interest in your targeted locations, recommended, or presence, people in or regularly in your targeted locations. This is very, very important for local businesses. This account I'm looking at right now, just for example purposes, is not a local business, it's a national business. But for local businesses, to preserve budget, I would always recommend that you start with presence, people in or regularly in your targeted locations, because you want to show ads to people that are regularly in your targeted locations. Google automatically defaults to presence or interest. Interest. People who've shown interest in your targeted locations. I could have shown interest in this city of New York, but I don't want to be served an Explorer for sale in New York City just because I Googled flight to New York or something like that. So for local businesses, especially with limited budgets, I would highly, highly, highly recommend that you have presence, people in or regularly in your targeted locations. Presence or interest, it's okay if you're doing other types of campaigns, which in this example I actually am. Widening the radius or widening the targeting because this campaign is doing really well. Plus, it's national and we have a lot of other exclusions. So that's why I'm not doing this. But for local business, for car dealers, I would recommend that this toggle is switched on. Okay. Google Business Profile. What GBP features should dealers prioritize for auto campaigns, reviews, posts, inventory? Yeah, have it all, right? Have all of this. Make sure you have good reviews, over 4 stars, a lot of reviews. I have different companies that we use, vendors that we use to help with that. If you need help with more reviews, posts, I would post a few times a week at least. And inventory, you should be feeding your inventory onto your Google Business Profile page. So if I look up Ford dealer near me, it's going to pop up. Okay, let's look up Gerald Ford. Not a customer of mine. Ha! The president. Gerald Ford. Auto Group. I don't know. So if I look up Gerald Ford, here's their Google Business Profile. They got 4.7 stars, a lot of reviews, good review summary. And then here's their inventory vehicle. This is cars for sale. It used to be called cars for sale, but definitely have your inventory pre-populated on here. Again, I don't see a lot of interaction from it, but it's just something good to have. What are the pros and cons of linking GBP to VLA campaigns? When does this work well? Of linking GBP to VLA campaigns. Just so I can have specific examples for dealers. Linking GBP to VLA campaigns. You can't really link them. In the back end of Google Ads, you should connect your Google Business Profile, but that you're not really linking the two of them. You should just run them both. So I guess, again, that goes back to the inventory. Just make sure you have this linked to your Google Business Profile. Most new car franchises that I know have vendors that automatically do this as part of the website company or their agency or what have you. We have it too. But if you're not, if you're a used car franchise and you don't have this, let us know. We can help you with that. It's not that expensive. It's like $150 a month. Okay. In this video, you thought the dealer's copy sucked. Yeah, so I wonder if you had any examples of highly effective ad copies you've seen dealers use in their campaigns. You know what? I actually do. DuPage cheap for sale. I think DuPage does a nice ad copy job. Honestly, they're not one of our clients, but look at this. DuPage Jeep, Glendale Heights, your satisfaction guaranteed. Visit the standalone flagship Jeep store in the state. The only standalone flagship Jeep store in the state. I don't know who cares about that. I'm not really sure. Packed with over 500 Jeeps. That's cool. Check out the amazing selection of Jeep vehicles at DuPage CJR Glendale Heights. Great use of, it's non-templated. It's great use of different ad copy, 500 Jeeps, good call outs, good hours. And then what I really like that they do is they use different extensions and they pre-populate the prices and their offers on different extensions. This is obviously probably their Jeep brand campaign, but they have Jeep Compass, Jeep Wrangler, and then they also have the Dodge Durango, which is interesting, and the Jeep Renegade. But they actually have prices and offers in here. So that stands out. It's not like your view inventory or new or pre-owned or whatever. This stands out to me. It's like, okay, they're pushing offers, right? That's nice that I look at because I just see a lot of dealers just put generic stuff on there, but some generic stuff works too. We've seen that too, and we run some generic templates as far as competitor campaigns or branding campaigns like view inventory or visit our Ford dealer or stuff like that. That stuff does work. Sometimes simple is better. I've just been in the space for a long time, so this is different and more unique. I would definitely try them both. Try them both, run split tests, A/B tests, and see which one works better for you. I think that'd be useful detail to add in the post. Also, can you share any data benchmarks around industry averages for ad spend, CPCs, conversion rates? Ooh, okay. Well, if we're talking about VLAs, I see like if you're going to designate a new model budget for VLAs, VLA probably, at least now at this recording, in a more densely populated metro like Chicago, probably around 500 per month minimum. New model budget classic search ad. Probably it depends on the model. Like if you're pushing a Mach-E, I mean that's going to be a lot less than Ford Explorer, right? So there's just more demand. It depends on demand, but anywhere from 700 to 1,000, I'm thinking, and this is per month. And that's if you want to own it. That's if you want to dominate it. You could spend less, but that's just typically what I see. Again, Chicagoland metro, more densely populated metro. A lot of results are going to differ, but those are some benchmarks. You don't typically see a lot of conversions on new model campaigns unless it's a really, really hot model or something like that. I don't see a lot of that. It's just something you need to test your landing pages and things of that nature. Um, yeah. I could talk about more branding and competitor at a different point in time, but that's kind of the what's going on. The average CPCs for the average CPCs for VLAs are less, so I'll put that in here. New model CPCs for a VLA would probably be. It used to be less than $1, but it's like $1 now. Or over. That's what I'm seeing because there's so much competition. Where new model CPCs for a classic search ad, that can be expensive, more expensive. I see anywhere in the Chicagoland metro from $3 to, I don't know, $8 plus per click. So that's why I say own the VLAs first and then own the classic search ads, but test them both. So, do I think any more important detail to add? Yeah. No, I think that's pretty good. And then finally, can you share screenshots? Well, I've shared a lot of screenshots, and I'm going to include some of the stuff in the document. So, guys, that's it. A little bit longer of a video today. Again, we went over really in depth how to make your VLAs better, specifically for automotive dealers, how to make them show up, how to test campaigns. We went over an ill-structured account. A lot of different things in here. So hope this helps. Thank you so much. And if this helped you at all, like, comment, subscribe. David Feldman-Makrias. I will be back soon. I'll be back. And we'll talk to you then.